After you file for long-term disability benefits, one of the first things the insurance company will examine is the type of work you were doing before you became disabled. They're not just looking at your job title, they're analyzing the actual physical and cognitive demands of your role to determine whether your medical condition prevents you from doing it. Claimants often overlook this part of the evaluation, but it plays a vital role in whether a claim is approved or denied. Hi, I'm Leah Small, a managing attorney here at Chisholm & Kilpatrick, a leading public interest law firm based in Providence, Rhode Island. Joining me today is Emma Peterson, a partner here at CCK Law. Today, we'll be discussing how insurers determine the physical and cognitive demands of a job and why it matters in LTD claims. But before we begin, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more LTD content.
Thanks, Leah. So as you've touched on in prior videos, individuals who are filing long-term disability benefits must pay attention to the definition of disability in their insurance policies. Can you explain why this definition is important?
So, the definition of disability is the standard claimants must meet to receive benefits. You must prove that your condition disables you under this definition in order for your claim to be approved. There are typically two definitions claimants are going to encounter in their policies. These are the own occupation definition and the any occupation definition. The own occupation looks at whether the claimant can perform the job they were doing at the time they became disabled, while the any occupation definition looks at whether the claimant can do any job whatsoever. It's important, though, under both definitions for claimants to focus on both the physical and cognitive abilities and requirements for jobs. It's important also to remember that some any occupation definitions also include a gainful component in the definition. This means that the insurance company will be looking at whether the claimant can perform another job that will earn them a certain percentage of their pre-disability earnings. Bottom line is that this definition of disability is really the crux of your LTD claim. And insurers can deny your claim if they conclude you don't meet the definition of disability.
Okay, so what are some common physical demands that insurers look at?
So some common examples of physical job demands include lifting, carrying, and moving objects and how heavy these objects are, how much standing, walking, or sitting the job requires, and whether it requires you to do so for extended periods of time. They'll also look at how the job requires you to use your hands for things like typing or other fine motor skills. But they'll also look at things like bending, reaching, climbing, or stooping, depending on the job. It's also important to keep in mind that jobs' physical demands can include stamina and physical endurance as well.
Okay, and what about cognitive demands?
So cognitive demands look at things like concentration and focus over sustained periods, whether the job requires a good working memory or the ability to process and retain a lot of information. Cognitive demands can also include the need to follow instructions, make decisions, solve problems, as well as things like multitasking and communicating effectively with other people, both verbally and in writing.
Okay, so how can individuals filing for long-term disability benefits show that they cannot perform the physical or cognitive duties of their occupation to their insurers?
So it can be a good idea for claimants to ask their doctor to describe their condition, symptoms, and resulting limitation in functional terms. So ask their doctor to describe how long they can sit for. It's also a good idea to use documentation from evaluations that measure your cognitive abilities or your physical functional abilities to help provide objective evidence of your disability. Additionally, it's important to provide a detailed job description, preferably from your employer or HR, but you can also write your own description describing the full extent of both the physical and cognitive demands of your job, so you can help, again, tie your symptom and condition to those demands. Additionally, you can consider getting witness statements from friends, family, or coworkers who have observed your condition and how it impacts your ability to meet those demands.
Okay, what happens if an individual's job is more demanding than the general job description?
So insurance companies do often use general job descriptions just based on your job title when evaluating your claim, and those may not actually match the duties of the job claimants were performing. Usually, the insurance company will rely on resources like the ONET database or the Dictionary of Occupational Titles to determine a job's duties. But if your specific role involved extra physical or cognitive challenges, you want to explain this to the insurance company and document it clearly. You want to emphasize the specialized tasks, the high-pressure responsibility, or the long hours that may have been required but do not appear in standard job codes. And if your insurance company continues to misrepresent your occupation, you may need to push back. However, it is also important to keep in mind and be aware that many LTD policies define your occupation as is performed in the national economy, not how it's performed for your specific employer. So there are situations where certain very specific job duties may not be considered a requirement for your occupation in evaluating your LTD claim if most people who perform your occupation don't have that duty. But if you're having trouble with how the insurance company is defining your occupation, an attorney may be beneficial.
Okay, great. Thanks, Leah. Understanding the physical and cognitive demands of your job is key to a successful long-term disability claim. By connecting those demands to your specific limitations, you can create a clear, compelling case for why you're no longer working. If you need help making that connection, or if your claim has been denied, then CCK Law may be able to assist. Since 1999, we've been helping LTD claimants get the benefits they deserve and may be able to help you too. Call us today or contact us via an online form on our website for a free case evaluation with a member of our team. As always, remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment below if you have any questions. Take care.